Today we're talking about your audience and why YouTube is building the wrong one for your fishing channel. In this video, I'm going to break down why YouTube is showing your videos to the wrong people and the 3 steps you need to take to get the right fish on the line. Welcome to the Fishing Channel Lab, where I analyze what the biggest YouTube educators are teaching and apply it to fishing creators just like you. With that being said, let's dig in. When I say YouTube is showing your videos to the wrong people, I'm not saying the platform is broken. I'm saying the system is making its best guess based on the signals it has. And early on, those signals are often weak, incomplete, or misleading. So YouTube starts testing your video on a small group it thinks might respond. But might respond is not the same as this is your audience. And if that first group doesn't respond well, it doesn't matter how good the video could have been for the right people. Because the wrong response is still a response, and the system learns from it. This is where a lot of fishing creators get confused, because they think, I made this for fishing audiences. And that may be true. But YouTube doesn't classify your video based on your intent. It classifies it based on viewer behavior. Who clicks, who stays, who leaves. So if your title is too broad, or your thumbnail attracts the wrong kind of curiosity, or your channel signal isn't strong enough yet, the system may start testing your video on viewers who were never likely to respond the way you need. And once that happens, your retention can look weak. Your watch time can look weak. And your video can slow down before your actual audience ever get a real chance to see it. Think about throwing a crankbait down a grass line. The fish you're trying to catch aren't just randomly scattered everywhere. They're positioned tight to the edge. That grass line is the strike zone. So your job isn't just to make a cast. Your job is to keep that bait running right along the edge long enough for the right fish to see it. Because if the cast is too deep, out away from the line, the right fish never even see the bait. It's still in the water, it's still moving, but it's not moving where it matters. And if you cast too shallow, right into the thick of the grass, you keep getting hung up in the grass. Now the bait isn't working either. Not because the bait is bad, but because you're pulling it through the zone covered in grass. That's the whole problem. Your video can be good. Your packaging can even look right. But if the video keeps landing too far away from the right viewer, or if it keeps getting caught up by the wrong viewer, then the right people never get a real chance to respond. This problem is deceptive. Because from your side, it looks like the video just isn't working. Low impressions, weak retention, weak early response. And that makes you want to think, maybe the topic was wrong. Maybe the title was bad. Maybe the channel just can't grow. But sometimes the bigger issue isn't the video. It's how close the test is running to the actual grass line. Because if the video is tested too far out, then the right fish never see it. And if the test keeps getting caught up in the wrong part of the platform, the system gets bad feedback. So from your side, it feels like the video failed. But from the system side, it may have just learned from a bad cast. So what actually causes this? There's a few common things. Number 1, your cast is too wide. When your title or thumbnail is too broad, you're basically casting it too far out. The bait is in the water, but it's not tracking tight enough to the fish you actually want. So the wrong viewers see it first. They may look at it, they may even click. But they were never the right bite, so the retention starts weak. And the system learns from the wrong response. Number 2, your signal is too shallow. Sometimes the packaging isn't too broad, it's too close to the wrong edge. It gets caught up in generic curiosity, or a weakly matched viewer, or a confused first impression. That's like throwing your crankbait so shallow that it keeps getting hung up in the grass before it ever gets a clean run. Now the presentation's messed up, not because the bait can't work, but because you're pulling it through the zone covered in grass. And when that happens, retention drops fast. Number 3, you keep missing the line. If this happens over and over, that's when it becomes a channel problem. Not because the channel is doomed, but because the system keeps getting trained on misses. Too deep, too shallow, not tight enough to the actual line. And after a while, YouTube starts learning from the pattern you keep giving it. Weak retention, weaker confidence, less expansion. So what do you do about it? You learn to run the bait tighter to the line. Not randomly, but intentionally. Here's 3 ways to do that. Number 1, tighten the cast. If you want the right fish to see the bait, you have to place it close enough to the grass line for them to notice it. That's your title and thumbnail. They need to be specific enough that the right viewer feels the video is for them, but clean enough that the idea isn't getting lost. Not too deep, not too shallow, right down the edge. So when you look at your packaging, ask, does this run close enough to the actual viewer I want? Or is it drifting away from them? Number 2, keep the bait running clean. Once the right fish sees the bait, the next job is to keep it moving clean. That's the first few seconds of your video. If the right person clicks, the opening has to track clean with what the title and thumbnail promised. No weird delay, no confusion, no moment where the viewer thinks, wait, this isn't what I thought it was. Because that's the equivalent of your crankbait coming back covered with grass. The casts look good, the target was right, but the presentation died before the fish ever got a clean look. And when that happens, retention collapses before the video ever has a real chance to grow. Number 3, learn the line and repeat it. Good anglers don't hit one good cast and act like they figured out the whole lake. They start paying attention to the angle, the depth, the speed, where the bait started working. That's what your channel needs. You need to study your last few videos and ask which ones track closest to the right line. Which ones drifted too far out? Which ones came back covered with grass before they could work? Because the goal isn't to make one lucky cast. The goal is to become so consistent that YouTube starts recognizing exactly where your fish are holding. And when that happens, the right viewers start staying longer. Retention gets stronger, and the channel gets easier to classify. So if it feels like YouTube is showing your videos to the wrong people, don't just assume the bait is bad. Ask a better question. Am I running this video tight enough to the right line? Because if you're too deep, the right fish never see it. And if you're too shallow, you keep getting hung up in the grass and ruining the presentation before the right fish ever get a chance. But when you start putting that bait right down the edge, clean, controlled, and consistent, that's when the right fish start seeing it. That's when they start staying with it. That's when retention gets better. That's when the signal gets stronger. So go back and look at your last few videos. Not just the views or the impressions. Ask, was this cast too deep? Was it too shallow? Or did it actually run tight to the line where the right fish could see it? And stay with it. Because when you learn to do that consistently, your channel gets easier for YouTube to understand. And a lot harder for the right audience to leave.